It has been a jam-packed Monday afternoon into the evening, folks. A lot of moving parts here around the latest with Jim Harbaugh, maybe to the NFL. We'll see. But if you didn't see on Saturday, Michigan has fired school president Mark Schlissel. We'll get into that story. The Raiders lost in the playoffs on Saturday. I told you the significance about that all week last week, and it got even more real today. The Raiders have fired their GM, Mike Mayock, this evening. And some new sportsbook odds have come out. Jim Harbaugh, now the favorite to be the head coach of one NFL team. Then a friend, a guy who was very instrumental in Harbaugh coming to Michigan 7 years ago, said he is not feeling good that things have strung out this long. We have those stories and a little bit more coming up for you on the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports right now. I am your host, James Yoder. We're going to take a look at all of those stories and everything that's going on around the Michigan football program and Jim Harbaugh's future here in a moment. But I'm going to start the show with something that just happened as we got ready to film here on a Monday evening coming up on 7 o'clock Eastern. The Las Vegas Raiders have fired their GM, Mike Mayock, less than 48 hours after the team made the AFC playoffs, lost to the Bengals, less than 48 hours after their loss to the Bengals on Saturday evening, folks. So that is the story. We're going to dive more into that because that's the news right before we're filming here. We are going to talk about other things regarding the Las Vegas Raiders and their pursuit of Jim Harbaugh because Raiders are going to be a big topic of today's show, and because this was just tweeted out here in about the last hour or so, toss this tweet up. Right at 5 o'clock Eastern, this went out, 4:58, from Jumbo Elliott. All right? If you're over the age of 30 and Michigan fan, you probably heard the name Jumbo Elliott quite a few times. Two-time All-American, Jim Harbaugh's final year at Michigan, and then the next year, they were teammates for 4 straight seasons, 1 year apart. Harbaugh's a year older. They both played for 5 years at Michigan. They were teammates 83, 84, 85, and 86. Then Elliott stuck around for the 87. You see what it says there, little birdie says Coach Harbaugh eyeing the Raiders and the Giants, folks. This isn't just some Greg Henson or some fly-by-night operation guy tweeting this out. Right after, literally about 30 minutes after this was tweeted out, the Raiders made their announcement that they have fired Mike Mayock. So, 4-year teammate of Jim Harbaugh, 83 to 86 at Michigan. You remember Jumbo Elliott, two-time All-American at Michigan in the 86 and 87 season. So, Harbaugh's offensive lineman, folks, if you remember that, like it was a Sports Illustrated cover or something like that of him with Jamie Morris on his shoulders. So, this is a guy who knows his way around the Michigan football program, and 14-year NFL player, NFL Pro Bowler, Giants, Super Bowl champion with the Giants, then finished up his career last 5-6 seasons with the New York Jets. Big time tweet, right? Big time tweet. I put a lot of credibility behind Jumbo Elliott, not one to just put things out there. He's been active on Twitter for a number of years. And look, it's Monday. All right? I told you a week and a half ago that if it went on to Thursday of last week, you should get nervous. I was like, okay, Thursday, yeah, we'll see what happens here. Maybe he's just giving his buddy at the Raiders, Mark Davis, the opportunity to pitch him. But now it's Monday, folks. There's got to be something going on, whether it's Jim Harbaugh, talking to the Raiders, if it's Jim Harbaugh talking to the New York Giants, like Jumbo Elliott said. They just made their change. March, when they fire their coach, anybody remember? Giants fired the coach on Wednesday, okay? So I didn't think that would be in play. They're not an organization with a quarterback or a ton, I would say, ready to win talent like I think the Raiders potentially could be. They just made the playoffs, won their last 4 games with an interim head coach. So that is the latest. We're going to dive more into this. This is kind of like the cold open, things we weren't even planning on talking about the show. The Jumbo tweet, big-time news, and the fact that the Raiders have fired their GM. And one more just nugget on that, and we'll jump into more a little bit later, right? If the rumors that I put out on Twitter and that we talked about in the show last week were in fact true, that maybe Harbaugh was giving the Raiders the opportunity after their season was over, if they talk Saturday night, if they talk Sunday, if they talk this morning perhaps, and Harbaugh said, I want full control, I want to be my own GM or name my own GM, this whole Mike Mayock thing would make a lot of sense, but I'm not necessarily saying that is the case. But kind of taking the piece of information we have and putting them together, it is certainly a possibility. But what we're going to start the show with, outside of the Harbaugh, Raiders stuff, is this story. If you didn't see it Saturday night, Michigan, University of Michigan president Mark Schlissel was fired by the Board of Regents after an investigation off of what they called an anonymous tip that he was having a sexual relationship with a University of Michigan employee. And he did it the stupid way. He was emailing back and forth with this employee whose name was redacted from the emails. And he never actually said anything, outright like, hey, come over for sex or anything like that. But there was a lot of innuendos. The funniest one I thought was they were talking about the president's suite at the Big Ten championship game and the tour he has to do. And he said something like, how about we have a private tour? Like, come on, dude. And by the way, he's been married to a very well-respected lawyer for about 35 years, doing this on the Michigan email. And there's another more salacious part to this that I'm going to talk about here in a second. But I want to know from you guys, what is your one-word reaction to Mark Schlissel, a guy who's no fan to the athletic department, in my opinion, and I'll give you a few of those reasons why here in a second. Let me know what you guys think about him being fired on Saturday night. I find it's about 2 words. I'm gonna make it 1 word. About time. Okay, about time, because I think he's had a number of issues outside of this personal thing, this relationship, the stupidity he had. I think he should have been let go. Scheduled to leave in 2 years, regardless. They've announced his retirement, but now he is out, and he loses out on a ton of money that Michigan was going to pay him as kind of a parting gift and a research grant, et cetera, et cetera. If you watch the NFL this weekend, or if you plan to watch it tonight, the kickoff in about an hour and 20 minutes or so from now, 7 or 8:20 Eastern, is it? I think it's 8:20 Eastern tonight. NFL Cardinals versus Rams. You can make the game more interesting and make next week's games more interesting. NFL playoffs or NBA. A lot of odds for college football, Heisman National Championship next year. Get going with BetUS if you're going to do it. It's our sportsbook partner. We trust them. Chatsports.com/GoBlue. If you use that promo code GoBlue, folks, you get a 125% deposit bonus. Put in $100, you have an extra 125, 200, an extra 250, all the way up to 500. You get an extra, what is that? $625 of deposit bonus. Chatsports.com/GoBlue. Use that promo code GoBlue. More on this Mark Schlissel story. So he's fired Saturday, inappropriate relationship with a university employee. And of course, the employee's name, which is probably fair, was not released. But he was rumored, and rightfully so, there were some released emails, the FOIA requests that people do, that media folks do, to get public information. Your emails, your texts, if you're a government employee, are in the public domain. He was very anti-Big Ten season. He was very anti-sports when COVID was happening during 2020. He thought, hey, you sneeze on somebody, it's just like getting shot down with a machine gun or something like that. So he was anti-football, and he had to be convinced by other Big Ten presidents, his own athletic director, coaches, etc., that, hey, look, we've been doing this in this program. We've been doing it around the Michigan facilities. Other programs have done it. The SEC is doing it. There's no point in canceling and losing on hundreds of millions of dollars or billions between the whole Big Ten for a season. I thought the most interesting one was that Jim Harbaugh said himself last August or September that he had called and emailed and texted to trying to get Schlissel to talk to him about the season, what they're seeing. Come visit Michigan's facility. Why haven't we had an outbreak on our facility? We're being very careful. We're being very cautious. This is the height of coronavirus in summer of 2020. And Harbaugh said he never called me back and never even responded to me. I said at the time, look, that's kind of insubordination. Harbaugh could technically get fired for that for cause. I don't think Schlissel would, because that's a bad PR move. But here's the tweet I put out right after the news broke on Saturday. I said, University of Michigan's Mark Schlissel refused to meet with Jim Harbaugh or return his calls and emails and texts, of course, during the entirety of the 2020 pandemic. But during that time, he was cheating on his wife with a university employee. So I'm glad that jackass is finally gone. This whole situation, I think Mark Schlissel's whole time at Michigan, folks, is just an embarrassment for the university. Clearly someone had it out for him, right? The backchanneling, the anonymous tip, and then the fact that the athletic department not only put this out on Saturday night, which is maybe a Saturday night news dump, but it wasn't hidden by any means. But they didn't try and hide or like, hey, you got to FOIA something, you got to request this. They dumped 156 pages that you could find anywhere on the internet right now, just Google it, of his emails and why they fired him, and the letter of his termination and saying it's for cause, you're not getting your money, we think you're doing this, we think you're doing that. It's some really weird stuff. The guy kind of looks like a creep. The one that everyone's been making fun of him, by the way, is the woman just emailed him something. He just responded, lonely M. Like, hey, I'm lonely right now. And then he just signs all his emails as just a lowercase m. Super creepy behavior. But now it gets a little bigger on Monday. Take a look at this headline here. Now, University of Michigan is investigating Schlissel for misusing university funds to support his relationship. And what does that mean? I saw this on Saturday. I'm like, that seems kind of shisty. There were several times in the email exchanges with this woman, or I guess man, doesn't have to be a woman necessarily, that they would email back and forth about travel plans. So I'm guessing she was some sort of support secretary, or he potentially, you never know. And there were multiple times where it's like, hey, maybe we can spend an extra night. And it was one even me alluded to. My wife's only staying one night. We can stay 2 nights. Or we're flying back from overseas. This is before the pandemic, 2019. We've got a layover in Paris, Charles de Gaulle. Why don't we winky miss our layover and spend an extra night in Paris? I mean, if he was doing that, he was paying for the hotels with his university card to have a sex round with the university employee. Scumbag behavior. But I guess if he got away with it, I mean, not going to hate the player, hate the game, but he is probably, I don't think he'll face criminal charges, but he's definitely embarrassed himself in his profession, which is academics. Will never get a reputable job again, I don't think. And I think in general, this is a good thing for Michigan football because with name, image, and likeness, and the ability to get players to transfer into Michigan without having all their credits from the previous university not count, Schlissel was the biggest opponent for that at the university. So I think this is definitely a good thing for the Michigan football program. Probably Jim Harbaugh was like, hey, that idiot's gone. Now we can actually do some things here. But I think it was a good thing for Michigan to get rid of Schlissel. And, maybe not under these circumstances, but he's gone. It's in the past. Type Go Blue. Let's see how many of you guys agree with me. If you think he was bad for Michigan football, which he was, so every one of you guys should be typing Go Blue down in the comments. Let me do a little myself. Go Blue. Boom. So go ahead and type Go Blue if you think Schlissel was bad for Michigan football. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below the video if you haven't. We're making the move towards 20,000 subscribers here on the Michigan Football Report. The most watched. Now we've got the most subscribers, but I think 20,000 is a nice round number. Want to make sure that we get there as soon as possible. Send the link, chatsports.com/MichiganTV, to a friend, to anybody you know in your life, a brother, relative, etc., that loves Michigan football, loves the Wolverines, and hey, might even like this show. So as we mentioned at the top of the show, folks, the Raiders have fired their general manager, Mike Mayock. I don't know if it's related to the Harbaugh situation. If it's not, it makes sense that it's not, right? They would have it already planned after the season, the Monday afterwards. But as I said, if the Raiders would have talked to Harbaugh Saturday night, Sunday, or early today, what if he won full control? Maybe it's out there. But that is not even the biggest part of this that's interesting that we're going to talk about here. It's this, the sports books, who typically don't get things wildly wrong. They don't put things out there unless they have some inkling of what could be possible. Jim Harbaugh is now the favorite, 2-1, right? So you put up $100, you bet on it. If Harbaugh became the coach, yeah, cool. You win your 100 back plus 200. Current, he has better odds, right? That's 2.1. 5-2 odds for the current interim coach, Rich Bisaccia. So it's basically 2.5-1 versus Harbaugh's 2-1. And then Doug Peterson, former Super Bowl winning head coach of the Eagles, 5-1. Mike Tomlin, kind of a weird one, but 7-1. And then the Clemson coach, Dabo Swinney, 8-1. Why would that be interesting? Well, there's like 10 Clemson players on the Raiders roster. And there was some pictures of him at a Raiders practice or game in the last few weeks. So maybe that's why they put that one on there. But those are the odds for the Raiders head coach put out by Sportsbooks. Now, take a look at this tweet here from Todd Anson. If you're not familiar with him, we've talked about him on the show several times. Bay Area guy, friends with Harbaugh. I'm not actually sure in what realm, but he was actually a big part of the Cackling John Bacon's book from about 7 years ago about the Harbaugh recruitment and returning to Michigan. Did an entire book on it. Anson was one of the guys that was a big part of multiple of chapters where, a season before talking about it, he was out to dinner with Harbaugh. When Hackett came out, Anson was key in connecting guys like Tom Brady and others to Jim Harbaugh, back-channel communication to let them express the fact that they would, Harbaugh and Brady and Woodson and Braylon Edwards and guys like that, expressing through back channels that Michigan really wanted Harbaugh the coach, and they, as former legendary players, would support him. So don't take that tweet as nothing. I think it's some serious that along with the Jumbo Elliott one. That's some serious stuff here on a Monday evening. Now, let's take a look at Jim Harbaugh's last few days, the Harbaugh tracker. We talked about last week how he got the new GMC Denali Tahoe, whatever it was, and then was down in Houston getting an award. Now, this weekend, had a bunch of recruits, some 2022 official visits, and a bunch of 2023 unofficial visits on campus. Harbaugh was there starting on Friday. Then Raiders lose to Bengals Saturday afternoon. Harbaugh then, about an hour or so later, attends the hockey game, the Michigan hockey game, with a bunch of recruits. He was taking a bunch of pictures. That's on Saturday night. And then got a commit from a 2023 four-star tight end, Andrew Rappleyea, I think it's something like that, Rappleyea, whatever you pronounce it, that he committed on Sunday. So all these people, the recruits at the game with him in the hockey game on Saturday, the guy committing with his family, I'm guessing was there, he's a 16-year-old kid, they had to be asking Harbaugh these questions. Mike Elston was hired on Thursday, announced today he has to be Harbaugh these questions. So it seems like, folks, it is business as usual for Jim Harbaugh with this whole situation. And maybe that's just the way he operates, where it's like, well, if I'm going to talk to the NFL in a week or two right now, I'm just going to do whatever I want. If somebody asks me about it, I'm going to tell them the truth. Nope, nothing going on with me, the NFL right now, but that could potentially change, right? If he talked to the Raiders, called him up or got on the phone, or they met at some secret location outside of Ann Arbor today or yesterday, then things change, and Harbaugh's probably like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm going to sneak in the back door of the office just so nobody asks me. I don't want to lie to him. But it doesn't seem that that things are going to change much for him unless there's an announcement, right? He is scheduled later this week, I believe Wednesday through Friday. He is scheduled to be on the East Coast. He's going to make a trip to D.C., Maryland. I read even Massachusetts and a few other places, visiting recruits, visiting high schools, expressing to coaches and parents that why their son should come play for the University of Michigan. And I read somewhere that he was going to make a trip down to see Arch Manning. I don't think that's this week, but planned in the next few weeks. So we'll see how that progresses with all these other Raiders rumors. If Michigan, though, folks, were to hire an internal candidate for Harbaugh's replacement, I want to just hear who you guys think would be the best candidate for the job out of the three most likely guys: Mike McDonald, Josh Gaddis, Mike Hart. Go down in the comments, type the initials MMJG or MH, and then just let me know why, right? What's the reason why you pick that person as your Jim Harbaugh successor if Harbaugh were to leave for the NFL? One thing I'm concerned about is I hope if he does take the job, he doesn't take like Mike McDonald and a few other coaches with him to the NFL, or even Matt Weiss, the quarterback's coach. That would be a big blow to this staff. But let me know MMJG or MH. This Michigan football season, folks, ended 18 days ago. And there's been speculation now for about, 13, 14, this is day 14, right, of the Harbaugh watch. So 4 or 5 days after the season was over, Harbaugh, NFL watch, NFL rumors started. He is yet to squash them out. The only thing he really said was last Wednesday, they asked him, what do you talk about these rumors to the NFL? Anything you want to address them? And he just basically said, yeah, there are similar rumors about me last year. These are better rumors, right? Okay, cool. Last year he was going to get fired. Maybe look at the NFL because he was going to get fired. I like his approach for deniability, but it certainly doesn't say that he's staying at Michigan forever. So I'm concerned. It's Monday. This has been going on for a long time. And now looks like if he wants full control, the Las Vegas Raiders or maybe the New York Giants, we'll see on that one, could be potential options. If you guys want the latest on this situation, if anything breaks, it takes a little while to put together a video. So if anything breaks or if there's any news or things you need to know about, at James Yoder on Twitter is the place to be. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back with more on this Jim Harbaugh story probably tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Go Blue.